What's happening, good people? What's happening? What's happening? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? All right, let's get right into it. Stepping on twigs and leaves, hearing the blue jays call out to their fellow flock while swiping away the occasional spider web, 20 yards or so from the pond, the smell of fresh water began growing stronger, captivating Jacob as they got closer. Originally, the 2-acre pond was a simple pit with no embankment, just a drop-off dug out by a small paper mill. Back in the early 90s, the purpose of the hole was for dumping scrap lumber, and it would have been covered after it was filled, but fortunately the hole was left unattended to for many years before being discovered by Henry and his friend Shug. The small mill never had the opportunity to dump anything in the hole due to bankruptcy and eventually shutting down. Now the hole and everything else on the property belonged to the bank, who couldn't seem to give the land away. Thanks to Henry and Shug, the exclusive pit had been stocked with every kind of freshwater fish that was native to the state of South Carolina. Coming closer to the pond, along with the rich smell, there was a collection of yellow flowers on the side of the path, readying the boy for what he'd been waiting for so long. Alright, let me turn this down just a hair. I see I have the word readying highlighted. I think that's a tempo thing, so I'm going to get rid of the highlight. Alright. I hope y'all had a wonderful Christmas. I did. I think I had one of the best Christmases I've had in a long time. All of my sons were home, but my daughter was not home, but we got to see her on video. She's in Korea. But like I said, can't have a perfect Christmas, I guess, these days. But it was great. Maybe she'll be home next year. And, but I had a great Christmas. I hope y'all did too. Alright, so I had the word readying highlighted. I think it was a tempo thing. Readying, sometimes that could be a tongue twister. So let me see. Preparing the boy. Preparing. Arranging. Priming. I think I used priming a few other times. I think I'm gonna put preparing. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go back. That's what I'll do. I'll put preparing. Alright. Coming closer to the pond, along with the rich smell, there was a collection of yellow flowers on the side of the path, preparing the boy for what he'd been waiting on for so long. Hearing the bold croak of a frog, then seeing it in the distance as it dove from one giant lily pad down through the dark surface of the water, then noticing a group of turtles as they slid into the water, evading intruders, it was official. The magic had begun. Alright. Hint at the spirit thing. Okay. Alright, so let me go ahead and insert something here, because I want, if you guys have been following along here from the beginning, you know that I inserted or I implemented some type of spirit fairy thing. It's invisible to Jacob, but I insert that in the story, and I'm going to build on that later on. But so right here on January 19th, 2022, almost 3 years ago, I wrote hint at, and that's how fast time flies when you are a writer. So 3 years ago I wrote, and it seemed to me, it seems like it was 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Almost 3 years ago, January 19, 2022. I wrote, hint at a spirit thing on the water somewhere in here. Also have Jacob hint about the need of a dog. So I'm going to delete this, resolve that. Oh, wait a minute. Let's reopen it. I want to delete this. How do you delete it? Delete comment right there. So that comment is gone, but now, because I deleted that comment, I got a hint at it right now. So what I'm going to say is, all right. So this is the hint. This is the hint. All right, hearing the bold croak of a frog, then seeing it in the distance as it dove from one giant lily pad down through the dark surface of the water, then noticing a group of turtles as they slid into the water, evading intruders. It was official. The magic had begun. But there was something different. There was something different about that day. Something was in the air or on the water. I'm gonna put a comment here. I'm gonna put a comma. And that's unorthodox, I guess you can say, because the word or would denote a pause, but I want an extra pause for the narrator, for the reader. I want an extra pause. So an editor would be like, yeah, you don't need a comma there, but I'm not an editor, I'm a writer, and this is what I want. But there was something different about that day. Something was in the air or on the water. It was a feeling that only Jacob could feel. Feeling and feel, that's redundant. So let me see if I can change feeling. There was a It's a lot of different words. Oh, there was a hunch, maybe not. Intuition. There was notion. Atmosphere, feel, evidence, mood. There's a lot of different words for the word feeling. If you guys are looking at the right side of your screen here, the thesaurus is my best friend, by the way. It was a sensation. Yeah, let's go with sensation. There was a sensation that only Jacob could feel. Yeah, that sounds about right. Try not to make too much noise, said Henry. Why not? Why not, Daddy? Asked Jacob. 'Cause if it's any if it's any gators in this pond, noise is gonna stir them up. And stirring up a hungry gator is the last thing you want to do. He might come after you. the man insisted. Might get you right in that plump belly of yours, he added while grabbing at the boy's stomach. I ain't scared of no gator, Jacob insisted. But if I saw a Bigfoot, I thought I changed Bigfoot last time. But if I saw a Bigfoot, I'd probably run all the way home like the Flash, leaving you standing right here. I'm sorry, Daddy, but I ain't messing with no Bigfoot, said Jacob. I thought I changed Bigfoot last time. I'm getting a little chilly, y'all. I'm about to put my robe back on. I may have to pause it. I'm in my office, which is a frog over the garage. And this is the part of the house that gets colder than the rest of the house. And today's December 26th, so it's wintertime, y'all. It's chilly. It's cold. So y'all gotta excuse me as I put my robe back on here. If I get hot again, I'll take it back off. But anyways, I had the heater on. Look, I got a space heater right next to me, but that's too loud. And anyways, it's a little chilly. Alright, so let's take it back to up here to the green. And I'm just moving right along. I'm just trucking. We'll make that black so we won't have to go back there again. Stepping on twigs and leaves, hearing the blue jays call out to their fellow flock while swiping away the occasional spider web. 20 yards or so from the pond, the smell of fresh water began growing. Fresh. From the pond, the smell of fresh water. Let's say 20 yards or so. Alright, y'all know yesterday was Christmas, right? So, yesterday was Christmas, so guess what? I'm still waking up. I'm still, me and my boys, we played some spades and, some alcoholic beverages came out. I'm not drunk. I didn't drink that much, but I don't even drink a lot these days, so it don't take much for me. I'll say this though. Uncle Nearest. Look that up. Look up the alcohol beverage called Uncle Nearest. Look that up, especially if you are an African American. Look up and research Uncle Nearest. YouTube as well, because the young lady, what's her name? Fawn. I think her name is Fawn. Yeah, her name is Fawn. Let me see if I can find her real quick so I can give her a shout out. I'd say young lady, but we're like the same age. But she's quite the business lady. No, Uncle Nearest is some good stuff. I don't drink a lot. Fawn Weaver, that's her name. Fawn Weaver. She was on the Breakfast Club plenty of times. This is her right here. If y'all can see that. Too much light, I know. Too much light. Fawn Weaver, that's her name. And she was on the Breakfast Club. She has a cameo on Bel Air, the show Bel Air. She's the founder of Uncle Nearest. Did I say Uncle Remus? Uncle Nearest. I keep saying Uncle Remus, and that almost got me in some stuff because before I was really familiar with the alcohol, the liquor, I went to the liquor store, and in my mind, I'm thinking Uncle Remus. I go in the liquor store, and lo and behold, there's an alcohol called Uncle Remus. So I picked that up. I'm walking towards the counter, about to pay for it, and I was like, wait a minute, is it Uncle Remus? I don't know what it was that made me turn around. I really don't, because I barely knew the name of the beverage. But something said that this is the wrong bottle. So I'm like, how's this the wrong bottle? It says Uncle Remus. So I go back And sure enough, I scanned a little bit, and it was on the same wall. Now, this is a big liquor store in Somerville called Bottles. It used to be called Bills, I think. It's called Bottles now. I actually met what's his name, Young Jeezy there. It's a big liquor store. I go back to the wall and I'm looking and I'm like, why am I going back? Because I didn't even know the name. I thought it was Uncle Remus. I did not know. So I'm looking and looking, and this is what it was. I know what it was. I remembered how the bottle looked. And I'm looking at the bottle. I was like, this don't look like the same bottle. So I went back and I scanned a little bit. Maybe not even 5 feet away was Uncle Nearest. I was like, this is the right one. Because the bottle looked the same. And let me show you what the bottle looks like. Y'all hold tight. I got 2 bottles actually, y'all. I'm not alcoholic. I'm gonna show you what the bottles look like though. So the one with the black label, this is the special edition. This is the more expensive bottle. This is a 2008 bottle. 2008. It's a little bit more expensive. It's like about $100 some. And this is the regular bottle right here. I think this is like a 59, maybe 69. I don't even know, 89. I don't know. But these are the 2 bottles, and I know y'all can't barely see them. All right. Anyways, I don't even know what was that about, but that's my excuse for having a little bit of fog. Anyways, originally the 2-acre pond was a simple pit with no embankment, just a drop off dugout. Is that where I left off, y'all? Let's go back. Stepping on twigs and leaves, hearing the blue jays call out to their fellow flock, while swiping away the occasional spiderweb. 20 yards or so from the pond, the smell of fresh water began growing stronger, captivating Jacob as they got closer. Originally, the 2-acre pond was a simple pit with no embankment, just a drop-off dug out by a small paper mill back in the early 90s. The purpose of the hole was for dumping scrapped lumber, and it could have been covered after it was filled, but fortunately the hole was left unattended to. I'm gonna put that because it's kind of a compound word, unattended to. For many years before being discovered by Henry and his friend Shug, the small mill never had the opportunity to dump anything in the hole due to bankruptcy and eventually shutting down. Now the hole and everything else on the property belonged to the bank, who couldn't seem to give the land away. Thanks to Henry and Shug, the exclusive pit had been stocked with every kind of freshwater fish that was native to the state of South Carolina. Coming closer to the pond, along with the rich smell, Coming closer to the pond, along with the rich smell, there was a collection of yellow flowers on the side of the path, preparing the boy for what he'd been waiting on for so long. Hearing the bold croak of a frog, then seeing it in the distance as it dove from one giant lily pad down through the dark surface of the water, then noticing the group of turtles as they slid into the water, evading intruders, it was official, the magic had begun. But there was something different about the day. Bidet. Y'all know what a bidet is? But there was something different about the day. Something was in the air, or on the water. It was a sensation that only Jacob could feel. "Try not to make too much noise," said Henry. "Why not, Daddy?" asked Jacob. "'Cause if it's any gators in this pond, noise is gonna stir 'em up, and stirring up a hungry gator is the last thing you want to do." "He might come after you," the man insisted. "Might get you right in that plump belly of yours," he added while grabbing at the boy's stomach. "I ain't scared of no gator," Jacob giggled. He doesn't necessarily have to giggle, but, his dad grabbed at his stomach, that might have tickled him. "I ain't scared of no gator," Jacob giggled. "But if I saw a Bigfoot, if I saw a grizzly bear, if I saw a grizzly bear, if I saw a grizzly bear, grizzly, how do you spell grizzly? Grizzly bear. Oh, if I saw a grizzly bear, I ain't scared of no gator," Jacob giggled. "But if I saw a grizzly bear, I'd probably run all the way home like the Flash, leaving you standing right here." "I'm sorry, Daddy, but I ain't messing with no grizzly bear," said Jacob. Alright, so this is gonna be green now. Watching his son as he painted his words with animation, Henry pressed hard to contain the laughter, but the boy continued overly expressing how fast he'd run, looking into his son's eyes, seeing. Alright. Watching his son as he painted his words with animation, Henry pressed hard to contain the laughter, but the boy continued overly expressing how fast he'd run. How fast he'd run. Going through all the motions and physical expressions, physical and movements. Watching his son as he painted his words with animation, Henry pressed hard to contain the laughter, but the boy continued overly expressing how fast he'd run, going through the motions and physical and going through the motions and going through the motions. Let me have a drink of water. Excuse me. Watching his son as he painted his words with animation, Henry pressed hard to contain laughter, but the boy continued overly expressing how fast he'd run and how fast he'd run. going through the motions. Going through the motions. See, I just giggled because I actually saw what he's doing. Wow. Pumping his legs in place. While pumping his legs up and down in place. Pumping his legs up and down in place. Looking into his son's eyes, seeing them stretch wider with every expression. Remembering those same eyes on the face of his father when he told his elaborate stories. Soon Henry found himself so jammed with amusement he could no longer contain himself. He exploded with chuckles, hissing and spewing before coughing out laughter everywhere. And as he sniggered and hooted, his son continued to over-exaggerate, driving the stake deeper into his father's funny bone. Gasping, Henry bent with one hand on a knee, then the other was holding his stomach, pleading without words for his son to stop. He called for a timeout by putting one finger in the air, but the boy continued on. Little Jacob had inherited his late grandfather's innate ability to drum up laughter in the simplest ways. He was a shark swimming in a sea of humor. And when he smelled blood, there was no letting up until tears flowed. "I'm telling you, Daddy, I'd run to the moon if I had to," the boy said. "And if one of those big old gators was to bite my foot off, I'd run. I'd still be running and hobbling." As Henry continued laughing hysterically, joyful tears began running down his sun-baked face, a handsome face, burnt bronze to color, a face that had seen so much in its 38 years. Soon the tears were like rivers traveling down smooth hills, streams that found his thick beard like an African delta. He was a slender man, standing average height. His body, all 160 pounds, was that of a lumberjack. Not a shred of fat, and with the back of a prize cotton picker, as well as a grip that could bring down a bodybuilder. His natural strength had been galvanized by working out of state, climbing tree after tree for a living. Had been working out of state. Let me see, I got a note over here. Hint at the spirit thing on the water somewhere in here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the spirit thing back again. Okay. This is not easy work, people. It's been 28 minutes. It really takes a certain type of person to be a writer. Just a writer. Just a person who can put a story together in a book format. It takes a certain person. To be a good writer, it takes even more of a certain person. But to be a great writer, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. I'm making my strides to be a great writer, and then eventually the type of writer that nobody else has ever seen before. That's my aim. That's my aim. So y'all stick around. You by now, if you don't know who I am, and when you get the time, do a little research. Anyways, he was a slender man, standing average height. His body, all 160 pounds, was that of a lumberjack, not a shred of fat, and with the back of a prized cotton picker, as well as a grip that could bring down a bodybuilder. His natural strength had been galvanized by working, had been galvanized by climbing tree after tree for a living. Now, come on, man. I gotta pat myself on the back. That's all. Sometimes a little bit is all you need. Less is more, right? All right, so I need to hint at the spirit thing again. But now he was there with his boy, his only son, his focus at the moment, not the years lost or the time he'd never get back. Though fixated, his attention was being carried away by the powerful current of humor as his son continued with his antics. Once fixated on Once fixated on spending valuable time with his boy, his attention was being carried away by the powerful current of humor as his son. With his antics. Out of breath, he gave a gasp before saying, "Boy, if there was any critters near this pond," and again, I gotta tell you all who hadn't been here during this process long, I know how to read. That's pretty obvious. I got 5 books published, 4 novels, 1 poetry book published, so I know how to read. So when you see me pause for an extended time, I'm not having trouble reading. I'm having trouble with this automated editing system going on in my head. I'm not having trouble. I'm editing, and I'm there on the pond, so I'm seeing certain things, and I'm trying to figure out, should I add these things that I'm seeing, these things that I'm hearing and smelling and feeling? Should I add these? Are they important? So it's a lot going on. That's why I pause. That's why it's not just this, and I'm also paying attention to the camera, because I don't want to pick my nose or fart on camera or burp into the microphone. I don't want to do that. So there's a lot going on. There's a thousand things going on at the same time, and I just want to say that real quick. So when you see me pause, I'm not pausing because I'm having trouble reading the word powerful. Now, I may have the trouble spelling the word powerful, but my spelling is, I don't even know, 3rd grade, 4th grade level, but this is 2024 going into 2025. I don't worry about spelling because there's this thing called spell check. All right. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits for today. We made it all the way down to where we make it. We made it down to right here, right? He was a slender man, standing average height. His body, all 160 pounds. Okay, I already read all that. Galvanized, but now he was there with his boy, his only son, his focus. Okay, I made it past that. Out of breath, he gave a gasp before saying, "Boy, if there was any critters near this pond, there ain't none now. All that racket you making, I'll be surprised if the fish ain't packed up and leave." Biting his bottom lip to prevent smiling, the amused father was doing his best to keep his composure as he looked down at his 10-year-old son with what was meant to be a frown on his face. Okay, so I gotta remember this note, and that is to hint at the spirit thing again. Okay, so let me delete it from here. All right, I'll just, matter of fact, I'll delete the comment here, and I'll put it somewhere else. Now, son, as the mood fell, Jacob mumbled to himself, "Mama ain't cooking no coon." What was that? His father asked. "Oh, nothing. I didn't say nothing," said the boy. All right. Standing there looking over, rippling. Okay, so right here. Smiling. Over little swells that resemble flashing mirrors. Henry's thoughts. Oh no, that's Henry. Shug had concocted. Oh, damn it. This is going into something else. I'm gonna have to put it somewhere down. Okay. Listening to Lupe explain. I'm gonna have to put it somewhere else. Both Hank and Shug. Alright. Hey, what are you staring at? Someone as okay. The man replied after coming back. "Now be careful with that big old thermos." Shortly after continuing on through the thick green wall of vegetation, the sun carefully follows. Henry gave, okay, going to one knee. "But Daddy, if the trail," I'm trying to figure out where to put this. That second hint. Yes, if you point, son. We're not going to kill her. No, but I don't want her to kill us. To tracked on. Okay, maybe right here. Making their way around the circular pond, traveling clockwise. Okay. I'll put it here. Alright, so that's where it's gonna go. Alright, well, maybe. Let's go back up. Biting his bottom lip. "Now, son," he said in a strong whisper, "you gotta learn how to control." So this is where we're gonna put the red. This is gonna be our stopping point. Right here. So we're gonna start here, and we'll stop in the red tomorrow. Thank you all for stopping by once again. I really appreciate you all coming by. These videos are for anybody who's trying to write, or anybody who just want to be entertained. Anybody who may have a curiosity about who I am and my writing style, and all the above. It's been 40 minutes, y'all. It's been 40 minutes, so I salute you all. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff. This is Anthony L. Kelly. Till next time, hit that like, leave a comment. I'm out.